in, superworm in, and there's a spider's grabbed it already, but the spider is kind of small. I think it's a different type of spider actually, to be quite honest. Oh, it is. It's a false widow, I think. Possibly an orb web. I don't know. It's trying to escape. There we go. It's coming back again. It's trying to web it. Where are we? There we go. To zoom in. It's trying to bite it, and the superworm's trying to kick it off. It's a false widow spider. So this is something different. She's trying to bite the end of the superworm's tail, bum, get her fangs in. There we go, she is actually biting it. So now she can actually bite through its skin, and then she's trying to wrap it at the same time, frantically. Look, you can see her little back legs going, and her spinneret, so she's putting some threads and some web around the tail end of the superworm to try and keep it in her web. It was very quick. She came down there, and there she goes. She's coming back again. She's going to try and bite it, and the superworm will keep on trying to flick it off. As long as she keeps on webbing it, she's keeping hold of it now. You can see, hang on a minute, let me just zoom out. You can see how much the superworm's moving that debris down below, and the spider's actually webbing it and holding it within the web. Amazing, really. Now the spider's trying to find other points to anchor it down. And she'll go back in, she'll wrap a bit more. There we go, you can see she's got her back legs again and her spinneret. She takes the web from the spinneret on the end of her legs, she wraps it around the tail of the superworm. It stopped for a minute, and whether it's because it's been bitten or what, I'm not too sure. This is a false widow spider. I can tell because of the markings on her back, not on her underside. And the superworm is still moving. Okay, so I'm back in. I just had to go and get a chair to make myself a bit more comfortable so that I can zoom in. There we go. Now you can see the back of the spider. This is how you can tell it's one of the Noble's family, which is the false widow spiders, and it's got these strange markings on its back rather than on its front or on its underside. So on the back it's got its back facing down at the minute, but there we go. She's put lots of thread onto the bottom of the tail of this superworm. Now she's trying to get back in and get a good hold on it so that she can bite it again. And then if she can bite it, she can envenomate it, which will paralyse the superworm. And then the venom will start to work and it'll start to digest the superworm's body. I can't get any better angle on it, but it's kind of hard to focus because the camera's trying to focus on the things behind. Those things behind are vitamin D tubes. They have like a fizzy effervescent vitamin D thing that you put in water, and that's what I have in the mornings. And I was going to use them as pipe work for my aquaponics system. As you probably realise, I like to reuse things and repurpose things. Anyway, we have a false widow spider, different spider. There we go. Look, you can see her abdomen. It's quite a cool little weird pattern on it. She's probably trying to find somewhere else to anchor off. And she's going to come back down, so she'll put a few more anchors on, and she'll come back down and she'll put a bit more webbing on. There we go, she's turning around. She's taking the web from the back end, webbing the actual superworm a bit more. Just to sort of hold it in place. Just going to turn around, she's going to come back and try and bite it again, let's see. Yeah, there we go, biting it. Getting that venom in. She's got her fangs in. I'm sorry it's a little bit blurry, but it's very awkward. There we go, that's a bit better. It's very awkward to try and film this with all the other stuff around her. The camera's trying to focus on everything else and not her. There you go, you can see her little pattern on her back. She's got quite a cool little pattern on her back. It's different, but I know that it's one of the false widow family. She's going to try and bite it. Oh, she's going to bite it again. She's still webbing it, look. So she's webbing. This is the front end of the worm, the head end. Oh, now she's come back up there, look. So again, she's going to just try and anchor it off again. Then she'll come back again. And see how much web she's got at the back here. So again, she's just weaving some of this new web into the old web as an anchor point. Once she's happy that that's secure, I should imagine she'll come back and try and web it some more. Just cleaning her mouth parts like that. I'm quite sure that she has bitten the superworm because it's stopped moving, but pretty much. Tiny bit of movement, but it is anchored off. You can see a long piece of web there that's connected up that end. There's a long piece up here. Here she comes again now. I think she's still weaving some web in there to make sure it's anchored off properly. Tiny little fangs. There she goes, she's got a bit more thread coming out of her bum. She's anchoring it off again higher up. And back down to the superworm, which is covered in webbing now. I just think she's coming back to give it another bite. There we go, she's sinking her fangs in. Oh, hang on a minute. Where are we? It's trouble when you... Oh, there we go. Sinking the fangs in again, biting it in a different place. Yep, she definitely is. Which will envenomate it and put the digestive juices in. So she'll bite it in several places and then it will liquidize the inside of the superworm and then she'll feed on it and suck it back out again. So superworm, false widow spider, will she eat it? And like the English house spiders, yes, she will. She's probably actually having a feed now. Okay, more of a bite. because this one's in a web that's out in the open, it'll be easier to see. So tomorrow I'll come back and I'll bring you in for a close look again. We'll see how much is left, or whether there's anything left, or perhaps whether she's dragged it off, because we can also see up and underneath it's an old piece of fencing that she lives on or under, so we'll be able to see whether she's dragged it off. The only thing with it being out in the open is sometimes another creature will come along, like a mouse, or not a rat, but a mouse or a vole or a shrew, and they'll take it out of the web, or a bird even. I get a lot of wrens in here, blue tits and great tits and all sorts of things, different birds, and they'll come in and they'll feed on anything, spiders and insects, and spider's actually biting into it again and envenomating it a bit more. The venom is working because it's paralysed the superworm. You can see its little arm just about moving. I should imagine that it's just the nerves that are working on it now. Anyway, there we go. I think I'm going to leave this one to it, as she is feeding. It's a nice close up of her. She's got her fangs in. She's probably is feeding on it, or still envenomating it anyway, but perhaps feeding on it as well. So will a false widow spider eat a superworm? As I say, it's one of the false widow family. You can tell by the weird markings on its back. It is still biting the superworm that's gone in again, and it's biting it again. I mean, it might be feeding on it, but I'm going to leave it to it because she has confined it. It's the last one out of the tub that I brought up. I've got some more at home, superworms, but for now we're going to leave her to it. And there we go, she's still wrapping it. Look, a bit more web. It's definitely anchored down nice and tight. It's not going anywhere, it's not moving. And as I say, I'll leave her to it, and then tomorrow I'll bring you back and we'll have another look and see whether the false widow spider has eaten it or moved it. I mean, she might try and drag it off, because this is the other thing that they can sometimes do, is they'll tie it all off and then they'll find a nice spot and they'll cut all the rest of the thread and then drag it up into their lair and then feed on it at their own comfort. But just wanted to see if we can see if she's biting it again. I think I'm zoomed in about enough there, about as much as I can anyway. There we go. False widow spider, superworm, Morio worm is what they're called. Cheers.